Is this thing on?
Well, so we are also using the same supplier for that. So I'll introduce our next speaker, Ahmed Hirani. Ahmed's going to speak to us about a new series of controllers that provide localized control of terminal unit, lighting, and sunblinds. The technology is currently in use in Europe, and Distech will be releasing in North America in the very near future. A little bit about Ahmed. He's the Executive Vice President of Sales and Energy Services for Distech Controls. He has 25 years experience in helping customers innovatively reduce their energy consumption and lower their operating costs. He's well versed in open protocol energy management technologies. Ahmed joined Distech Controls in 2008 and brings strong sales leadership and direct digital control technology expertise to the organization. At Distech Controls, Ahmed is responsible for growing the global Distech Controls business and brand, which includes channel management and OEM relationships. So I'll bring you up, Ahmed, to speak on lighting controls.
Presentation there, and the clickers here. Excellent. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? A little sleepy? A little early this morning? No? All good? All right. How many of you have heard about Distech Controls? Good. That's great. The word is getting out. This is the best kept secret in building automation in the world right now. Distech Controls has been hailed as an innovator in open system technologies. And the reason for that is when open systems first came out, and open systems means the interoperability between building management systems or building automation systems. So the ability for one building automation system manufacturer to speak to another building automation system manufacturer. And Distech Controls has been on the leading edge of that, promoting open technologies since its inception. So I'm gonna go through a few slides just to give you a little bit of history on who Distech is. Give you a little overview on who the company is so that there's a recognition of who we are. I'll also go through some of the projects that we've done. Some of the projects that Rick mentioned earlier in his presentation are also Distech Controls as well, and they won't be repeated here. We're a privately held company. We're made in Canada. We're proudly Canadians. We're located just outside Montreal off the South Shore in a city called Brossard, Quebec. We're moving into a new facility just down the street from this location before the end of the month. We're really looking forward to that. Our global headquarters are in Canada, but we also own a company in France, in Lyon, France, that we bought about 3 years ago. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today from a technology perspective. This particular organization had a unique technology in the France marketplace, which is now becoming prevalent in the European market. And we see trends in Europe in building automation really leading the North America deployment. So you're going to start seeing that coming to North America. And Distech Control wants to be the champion and the leader in that technology. We're a manufacturer, so we manufacture DDC products, direct digital controls products, most notably known as building automation systems. We have a very, very high level of commitment to research and development. And our organization is built upon an ISO platform, ISO 9001, to grow our business. Speaking of the growth of our business, CABA, which is the Continental Automated Buildings Association, rates Distech as the fastest growing or a leader in the Tier 2 market space. So we're the top Tier 2 company in the North American market space for building automation with a Tier 1 product. You can see the growth rate of Distech Controls. So even as the market space itself and our competitors flatlined, okay, after the 2008 economic meltdown, we continue to grow. We continue to grow at an average growth rate of over 30%, which means that we've taken market share from our competitors, which means that we are growing. You also see Frost & Sullivan, Deloitte, Ernst & Young accolades for Distech Controls as one of the fastest growing technology companies in the Canadian market space. Our research and development comprises about 30% of our employee base. We're very, very committed to this. We release, on average, approximately 15 new products a year, which is one of the highest product development and product release rates in our market space. We're ISO 9001, that yields us a DPPM, a defective parts per million, of less than 0.5%. And we achieve that because every single controller we manufacture gets factory tested before it leaves the factory to ensure that when it reaches the job site, it reaches our system integrator partners, that it actually is working and there's no defects. We go to market as with customer service, technical support, and training as well. So we not only have a training facility located in our corporate office, but we also do remote training where we'll actually take our demo cases, our suitcases, and our instructors will travel. So how far have we gone? Well, we've gone training to Korea, Australia, England, Middle East, South America. So we train everywhere, and of course, Canada and US. In fact, we've got a training session happening right now in Toronto, in the north end of Toronto. You'll also see us at the ASHRAE show. We take a very prominent position in ASHRAE. We try to get a big booth. We're trying to increase our brand identity. Because I did say that we are the best kept secret. We need that word to get out. And so we're spending the money on the marketing side, marketing in ASHRAE Magazine, Consulting Engineer Magazine, and marketing at the ASHRAE shows as well as other shows. We have a complete standard for building automation. We are the new standard for building automation. We use what AIRON mentioned as Tritium. So we use the Tritium technology as our Niagara framework technology layered on top, and that's called our ECNet AX solution. That ECNet AX solution is modified to suit Distech's need. But the key differentiator is that ECNet AX solution can be deployed in a totally open platform situation. So that creates that open technology and that open interface to other manufacturers. Coupled with that, we have BACnet and HVAC controllers. Those BACnet and HVAC controllers are both Lawnworks and BACnet. Okay? So we cover off both open technologies. We don't expect the building owner or the system integrator to choose one over the other. The consulting engineer may have a preference of one over the other, but we equip our partners and our customers with both technologies. We also have an integrated lighting control solution. We have the panel-based lighting control solution that you see on our stand there, but we also have the integrated room control that I'll be speaking about as well. We also have a platform that expands itself on an integrated level to security, access control, and CCTV. So that really provides a seamless, what we term, building management system opportunity. We've been the leader in open to wireless technology. There's a prevalent technology out of Europe called Inocean, and it's a wireless sensing technology. Distech was the first North American company to introduce that technology 8 years ago, and has been the leader in distributing it in the market. Today, you're starting to see several manufacturers adopt that technology and now bring it to North America. And that's what we're trying to do with the integrated room control. So we're a little bit ahead of our time, but we're willing to do the pioneering work because we believe in the technology. We also have energy management metering and other solutions that are specific to markets. Where are we in the world? Well, we've got over 20,000 installations worldwide. So we're from everything to a hospital, to large commercial complexes, to multi-site complexes, shopping malls, airports, you name it, we're there. One of our largest customers is the US military, which is the US Army Corps of Engineers. You will find a Distech controller on almost every single base in North America, Army base. And the reason for that is we also OEM our product to Johnson Controls. So our Lawnworks technology is actually branded by Johnson Controls as their own, but we're the technology behind them. Okay? We also have a relationship with Honeywell through their Phoenix Controls organization for laboratory and fume control. Phoenix actually uses us as opposed to using Honeywell for that technology. I'll give you a quick sense of where we are installed. This is more biased towards the Canadian market space, just to give you a quick overview of where we've installed in Canada. Banque Nationale de Canada, we not only have done the retrofit of the corporate offices, but we've also done over 250 bank branches. Another one that's not on here is Rona. We do all the Ronas Canada-wide for that organization as well, for building automation. Commerce Court is one in Toronto that you can find. It's a significant Class A facility, 2.5 million square feet, 4 towers. When this facility is completed, it will be LEED Gold certified, and it boasts over 60,000 points of control of I/O, and that's being retrofitted with Distech controls. Not only are they doing the HVAC retrofit here, they're also doing the lighting control retrofit, replacing the GE TLC panels with Distech controls lighting panels for an integrated solution. 160 Elgin Street in Ottawa. By the way, we recently just acquired 150 Elgin Street as well. One of the tallest buildings in Ottawa is being controlled by Distech. Arena 3 Glass in Quebec is a Distech facility, as well as the Montreal, any HAB stands here? And we had a tough go yesterday. We're
almost there.
We also do the practice rink for the Montreal Canadiens, okay, in Brossard, Quebec. So that's also controlled by Distech. We do a number of arenas. We seem to have found a niche in arenas across Canada. We have a number of them in Winnipeg as well. We've done a number of schools with the Newfoundland board. There's several schools being done by our partner there. Just quickly scan through these. Ottawa Train Yards. This is an interesting project. We've completed the first retrofit of the first building, 269,000 square feet. This site is scheduled to upgrade and have new facilities going up to 7.5 million square feet over the next 10 years. And Distech is the base bit of design for this. This is a really neat building. It's almost finished. It's in Winnipeg. It's the Canadian Museum of Human Rights. And this particular facility, I put it up here only because of the architecture. And the other thing is that, you know, Distech Controls is controlling this facility, and we're really managing and monitoring the HVAC for priceless artifacts. So that tells you the tight tolerances that we have to yield and perform to in this type of environment. And by the way, in the US, we also do the National Gallery of Arts in Washington, D.C. Quebec Biotech Center, another services facility. Comcast Center in Philadelphia, USA. This is the tallest building in Philadelphia, over 2,000 VAV controllers, all Distech controls. Kind of tells you the breadth of where Distech's at. The air traffic control tower in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, is controlled by Distech. Staples Center, where the LA Kings play and the LA Lakers play, is head-to-toe controlled by Distech. And they're so happy with Distech controls that the new live arena coming out of the ground was base bid and specified Distech controls. Hilton San Diego. So what I'm showing you here is the different variety of installations that Distech has on a global scale, and I've limited this to something that you know, we can address quite rapidly here. You can see other references as well. You can see REITs and property management firms that have decided to specify and standardize on Distech controls, including Morguard here in Canada. K through 12 school districts, we've got a ton of them. I'm just giving you a sampling here. In Toronto, we've got Toronto Catholic District School Board, and we're making our way into more boards as well. And you'll probably kind of say, okay, well, I kind of understand, I know Distech a little bit. Why aren't you guys more prevalent in the Canadian market? And just to let you know, when we started manufacturing in 1995, our focus was the US market. Our CEO looked at the market for lawn works, and it was primarily in the US market. And the US Army Corps of Engineers, when they approved our product, really dragged us to the US market. We started coming back in 2010 with an aggressive approach in the Canadian market to claim our stake in the Canadian market. So now you're starting to see us grow in the Canadian market space as well. Colleges and universities, quite prevalent around the globe in colleges and universities as well. Some of the manufacturing plants that we are in, Land O'Lakes in St. Paul, Minneapolis, House Foods, International Flavors and Fragrance, Simplot for potatoes, PepsiCo here in Mississauga as well. And then critical environments is always a good thing to talk about because they're double and triple redundancy for their controls. And you can see some of the brand names that we actually have installed for and are controlling their data centers, which are mission critical. All right, that gives you, hopefully that gives you a good overview of Distech controls. I wanted to kind of get that out of the way before we talked about integrated room controls. Now, this technology, as Rick mentioned, it's a European technology. It's been prevalent in the European market for about 3 to 5 years. When we purchased this company out of France, Lyon, they had about a 60% market share in that particular market for integrated room controls, specifically around the fan coil market. So France is a fan coil market, not a VAV market. So after the acquisition of that company, we've done the integration of that organization and now are starting to rebrand the products and redesign the products and start making them more North American based so we can start bringing them here. This particular product line will be released before the end of the year in the North American market space. So what makes this difference? Well, it's personalized comfort. So we're getting into the mode of actually getting into not only controlling for one individual on temperature, but we're also now looking at light levels, we're doing lighting control, and we're doing what's quite unique is sunblind management and sunblind control. So that's starting to kind of get into more of, when you're starting to see a lot of towers being built now, you're starting to look at the sun loads and starting to determine that it is having an impact on our energy, it's having an impact on our HVAC, and more importantly, it's having an impact on the comfort level of your building occupants. So Distech has addressed that. When we take a look at our system architecture, we have the ECNet or the Niagara Framework solution here for our hardware and software. And oh, by the way, we have a great energy management dashboard, which Ryan has up there. If you are interested in an energy management dashboard, please do stop by and let Ryan show you how easy and simple we've made that. A really great opportunity. And then Niagara Framework extends to network controllers here that gives us our HVAC, gives us our integration to variable frequency drives, power meters, etc., and lighting control, as well as card access CCTV. But when we get into the HVAC side, what's unique here is our integrated room control offering, which today nobody else has in North America. So we all know the standard application. So if you're looking at an office environment or even an open area environment, you'll have several VAVs in that space, or perhaps one VAV controlling that office. You'll have a space temperature sensor that will control the flow of air and the temperature within that space. Okay? So whether it's a fan coil, a heat pump, a unit vent, or a chilled beam application, or a VAV, you've got that type of today's HVAC control system. What we're looking to do is we're looking to extend that. So what we're seeing now is we're seeing the need for sunblind extension, okay, and sunblind control. So when you've got the sun feeding in on that office, you can start adjusting the louver positions to match the sun angle to reduce the HVAC load, to reduce the heat load within that space, okay? And then we've also got this lighting extension module. Well, lighting control has been around for a number of years, but we're not doing it at the panel-based level, although we do have a panel-based solution. We're doing it at the ballast level. And we're using DALI, which is another open protocol, which is dimmable addressable lighting interface. And we're using DALI to accomplish that. Okay? And so we'll get a little bit more into that. We have our space sensor here now, and so we can do HVAC control that now includes temperature regulation, but we've also got humidity, so now we can deal with enthalpy, and we've got CO2, so we can do demand ventilation control as well. Okay? And then the lighting extension module, along with this multi-sensor, senses the luminance of the room and adjusts the lighting. And I'll explain how that happens a little bit further. Where is this used? It's quite unique. It's a modular approach to energy management. We can use it in offices, hotel rooms, patient rooms, dormitories, military housing, etc. It's an end-to-end solution for the space. Okay? So it's not only focusing on the large air handling systems and chiller plants and boiler plants that are integrated as part of the BMS, but now it's getting into the space to address the specific needs within that space market, within the building occupants, where the occupant survives and lives for over 8 to 10 hours a day. It achieves the highest level of comfort because you're controlling the cooling and heating loads within the space. You're controlling the lighting load, which also impacts your HVAC loads, and of course you're reducing energy consumption. By the way, we have also a sample of our Allure EC Smart Sense. This is a newest addition to the line. Looks like an iPod. It's a touchscreen sensor. It displays temperature. It allows you to control set point, but also allows you to control sunblind and lighting level control. Really, really neat. We installed it at Google's head office. Only one problem. The application we made was for an iPhone. So as part of the project, we're to release an Android version. So we're working on that. But it's at the Google's head office as well. You can download this app for free. So for those of you who today have an iPhone, you can download this for free. It's neat to play with. Kind of shows you the next level of where energy management technology is going. So not only do we have the remote control, which allows you to point, click, and adjust your parameters in a room setting, but now you can actually control it from a mobile device as well. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about how we get to this particular range. If you talk about the VAV controlling, we connect using an RJ9 cable to the extension modules. So our backnet of lawn controllers here, whether they're VAV or fan coil or whatever mechanical system you have, will connect using RJ9s to our extension modules. The extension modules will be an addressable, dimmable lighting interface module that will speak also with RJ9 back to a Sunblind extension module that will modulate the motors on the Sunblind. We achieve the luminance or the light level within an area or a room by using these multi-sensors. So these multi-sensors not only measure the luminance in the room or the lux levels in the room, but they also have infrared detection for the remote control. And of course, we can also modulate everything using our programmable EC Smart View sensor as well. The concept here is imagine that you're in an office. I'm just going to scale back a little bit and see if I can go back a few slides here. Here we go. Imagine that you're in an office. You may be in an office environment, an enclosed environment. You have 4 lighting fixtures within your office space. You're controlling temperature and you're regulating temperature as you normally did using your space temperature sensor. But now the concept is that I have a lighting extension module that I have control of each individual ballast. And it may be a dimmable ballast. Okay? I have one of these sensors in the ceiling space measuring the light level that's being thrown into my office. What I can actually do now is using the angle of the sun, I can modulate the louvers to get maximum light in or get minimum light in. Okay? So I've got the optimal light level within my space, and now I can start dimming the lighting above me. So each individual fixture can be dimmed to a different level, or if it's an on-off, the ones beside the window can be turned off because you've got sunlight coming in, and only the ones that are facing the corridor are the ones that are on. Okay? Does that concept make sense? So now we're integrating Sunblind, we're integrating lighting control, and we're integrating HVAC for all the energy management. So what does that yield us? Well, that yields us, according to the University of Hanover, 59% opportunity for energy savings. Okay? So energy consumption gets reduced by 59% by doing this type of deployment. Okay? So where does that data come from? You can see the results from the University of Hanover University of Applied Science and Arts. So from occupancy and time scheduling, it's about 45, 25 on the, and this is all based on HVAC, obviously. 25%, 15%, 5%, etc. So we've got a combination here of lighting control and HVAC that can yield us automatic dimming, sunblind control, and HVAC to reduce up to 59%. So the multi-sense, once again, it has a lux level sensor within it. It also has occupancy detection. The HVAC side of it, BACnet or LawnWorks, and this is the great thing about Distech, both our control lines offer you either open protocol that's out there in the market space that you as a consulting engineer, or you as a building owner, or you as a system integrator decide you want to use. And then, of course, we have our extension modules and our room sensor, our smart room sensor, and then the remote controls. So that's the components of what make up an integrated room control. Where is this being used? These are some pictures of some of the projects. I mentioned Google. Google is using this, but also Carpe Diem Towers. This is a fairly significant recent installation. That's why I brought it up. But we have over 2,000 installations within Europe currently using this technology. Okay? So you can see, you can get quite substantial here. There's 4,000 fan coil controllers in this particular building, 2,700 lighting control extension modules, 1,600 Sunblind modules, 2,000 of those little multi-sense that are up in the ceiling space, and over 2,000 remotes. Distech Controls is your provider of choice. Hopefully that gives you a good opportunity to understand who we are as a company and what solutions we're bringing to the market that are innovative and leading edge. Advanced Technology Solutions, we're dedicated to open standards. We're very dedicated to open standards. We don't believe in proprietary protocols. And we have commitment to quality and innovation. All in order to maximize your operational savings and your operational efficiencies. In closing, we have an end-to-end solution. It's easy to configure, it's easy to install. Energy savings that are delivered because we're integrating to the building management system, whether it's our building management system or somebody else's. And you achieve the highest return on investment for a building owner utilizing this. Thank you very much. If you've got more questions, or please come visit us at our booth.
Just before we break for break and networking session, as well as an opportunity to look at the trade booths, I just want to expand a little bit on our involvement as an integrator with the multiple manufacturers of controls. Currently, we represent about 5 different product manufacturers of energy management controls. We got involved with Distech, I think, in about late 2009, so it's been about 4 years. At that time, our company was growing, and then we were looking to expand our product offering as an integrator, and also to somewhat reduce our risk to our supply chain by expanding our ability to pick good products from good manufacturers, rather than just being committed to only one product and just the technology that they have to offer. One common theme that you've heard this morning is R&D, R&D, R&D. Tom Wolf's company, Weissman, is investing heavily in R&D. Ahmed Hirani's company, Distech, is extremely heavily invested in R&D. AIRON, to the capacity of which we operate, are extremely heavily invested in R&D. I like to consider myself an early adopter of the technology. That really is what fires me up as a business owner. We have a very successful HVAC service organization, and that's more along the nuts and bolts side of it's broken, fix it, tender participate in the bid and spec side of things, which is a very competitive model. But my passion is really on the new stuff. What's coming out in the industry? What's gonna be the next change that's gonna make a significant difference? The last presentation we spoke a lot about sustainability and how our industry works in the reduction side of it to come up with new solutions that reduce, our impact or our need on fossil fuels. So you can see that the people speaking to you today have a huge commitment to that. And getting back to Distech a little bit, they work very hard with their relationship building in the industry, and with us in particular, and our colleague integrators that throughout North America, as well as on their R&D, and they've brought products to the market that we find we can more efficiently install than some of our other suppliers of great products, not knocking anyone here, but Distech is taking that step above. And today, over 50% of our business goes directly to Distech in a matter of 4 short years. Our business has grown too, but that speaks to some of the points that Ahmed made earlier on how they've achieved growth in somewhat of a stagnant market. And they've done that mostly through products and through tech support and through partnering with AIRON to try and introduce us to opportunities that exist out there as well. So we're very happy, and I'm actually very proud of my relationship with Ahmed and Distech Control. So with that said, we'll take about a 15-minute break, have a coffee, relax, and then go visit the trade tables. Thanks very much, guys.